Hello, I'm Dave, co-founder of Social Shifters. This is the Social Shifters podcast. In this podcast, I'll be speaking to incredible young people from all over the world, leaders, innovators, entrepreneurs, all tackling social and environmental issues that matter to them most. Listen in to hear top tips from some of the most incredible young minds on the planet. Hello and welcome to the Social Shifters podcast. I'm David, co-founder of Social Shifters, and I'm here with project ConEducacion, based in Colombia, who have an incredible idea they're going to tell us about. We're going to explore with them what they're doing, why they're doing it, and how you can maybe follow in their footsteps. So guys, hello, welcome. I'm going to hand over to you to let you introduce yourselves.
Hello, thank you so much for this amazing invitation. We're very happy to be here sharing about our project and ourselves today. My name is Yuliana Palacio. I'm a foreign languages teacher and co-founder of ConEducación from Colombia as well, but currently living in Boston, Massachusetts.
My name is Carolina Amorocho. I am co-founder, also teacher, and currently living in Colombia after a while of being in Boston for a couple of years.
Thank you. So really appreciate you joining me today. And I really love this project. I think it's a really interesting and inspiring idea. And I've been excited to get you guys on here to talk about it. So thanks for joining me. So ConEducacion, tell me about that. What's the concept in a nutshell? What does it do? What are you doing? And what are your ambitions for it?
So what we do in ConEducacion, in a nutshell, is close social gaps and educational gaps in Colombia. We come from a country that has a huge inequality and has had it for many, many, many years. So what we do is work from an education perspective to build equity in our country.
And tell us a little bit more about how you do that.
At ConEducación, we have two main projects. Right now, the project we're focusing on is Somos Bachilleres, which is a project in which we work with high school students from rural areas, and we support them and give them a real chance to get to college. As it might be in other countries, there are college counselors, but that's not the case for Colombia. Our students do not have college counselors in their schools. Most of them are first generation students whose parents didn't go to college. So when they say they want to go to college, they don't even know where to start or what the process is to get there. So what we do is not only to prepare them academically so that they can compete for a seat in college, but we also go all the way with them until they are registered, and we go through all the process of exploring their vocational orientations, what their strengths are, and all the process of applying and registering into college.
And what's very particular of the work that we do is those supports that we're offering are not available, as Julie was mentioning, for these students. In general, public education in Colombia lacks a lot of these supports. And when we go to rural areas, that's particularly the population we work with, resources are even less. So what's new, what's innovative, it's not the specific things that we do, because it's not new to know that if you prepare for a test, you're going to have a better score, or if you can ask somebody questions, you will be able to have a better result in a process. But what is new is that we're bringing those things to students that currently don't have any of that.
Why do you think it's so important that new students, first generation students, as you call it, from rural communities have access to higher education? Why is that important?
Well, I personally believe and I see education as transformational. I think education changes people's lives. I am a first generation student who comes from a disadvantaged area in Medellin, one of the most unequal cities in Latin America. And education has changed my life and the life of my family. I've been able to do a lot for myself and my family I wouldn't have able to do without education. And that's why I want many, many more students to have that as well, to have those opportunities that I've had access to and even more opportunities. And that's what education brings to them.
Yeah, fantastic. And what is it that you do? Sounds like you're really taking people from the very beginning of the process right to, when they're entering higher education. Is that right? How many of you are there, and how do you support these young people into higher education? What's your process? What's your service, if you like?
So our first year we focused in it was like 6 months that we worked with the kids. And as we worked that first year, we figured out we needed to expand our work from a little bit before to a little bit further in time. So what we do is during that senior year, we focus in 3 main areas. We first provide academic preparation for a national standardized test, which is what they will need to, like the scores that they will use in order to access college. College admissions are based on this test results. So we prepare them academically for that. The second thing to do is the vocational and psychosocial training, in which they explore their likes, their strengths, their passions, and kind of build their career pathway, what they want to do. And we help them navigate the system for presenting admissions to college, registering, and then being enrolled once they are admitted. And the third thing is like an individualized mentoring. And for this, like for us, this is very, very important, because keeping in mind all the vulnerabilities our students face, having a person that they can talk to that helps them solve any kind of problem in their daily lives is fundamental for them to prioritize their education. If they have to take care from a family member or a little sibling or their health, whether it's physical or mental, they cannot make schooling a priority. So that third mentoring piece is key. And what we do at the end of the year, the program runs for a year. So what we do at the end of the year is pay for college application fees for 3 different colleges per student, which is one of the first barriers we are overcoming when it comes to accessing higher education. And that's like the year of the program, but our support extends beyond that, because, for example, our first year was 2021, and to the date, we continue supporting kids. So if they are in college, they are successful in college, they call us because they have a test or they need support organizing their time, or they're having like struggle because they're not feeling they belong in the place where they are, many different things. So they still reach out to us, and we continue providing those supports, and we continue being like there for them.
Is your plan with ConEducacion to scale and to be able to provide this type of service to many, many, many more people, or will this always be a very personal, very individual service that you provide, and it'll always be kind of small numbers and local, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that? Which way do you want to take the organization?
I think we do want to grow, because we believe all students in Colombia should have access to the support that our students are receiving right now. The impact we're making, yes, it is great for the 56 students we have worked with so far, but we want that to go a lot farther and support many more students. However, we do not want to sacrifice quality for quantity. We want to grow progressively to make sure that what we're doing stays personal, responds to the needs of the community, because not because this is working in the 2 communities we're working with right now means it's going to be the same if we expand to 3 or 5 more municipalities. We want to make sure that we are doing it right, and to do it right, we cannot go from 56 students to 1,000. We want to keep growing, but growing progressively, I think.
We currently have 30 people as like staff volunteers. Everybody's a volunteer in ConEducacion at the moment, which includes, like leadership team, includes psychologists that work all of the psychosocial and the vocational part. It includes a team of 9 mentors. It includes a team of over 12, 15 teachers that do the academic part. Everybody right now adds 30 people. But in order for us to continue growing, we do need to continue adding more people to the team. We need to just continue having the possibility to offer that one-on-one support, because I think that's the soul of what we do, that's tailored to the needs of each student, of each family, of each community. And because we have been able to get to know our kids that close, get to know our families and the communities we work with so close, that's also why it has been successful, because families can trust us. Families can trust that if they need anything, as we say since day one, like anything, absolutely anything that comes up and you need, just reach out. We might not have, usually almost all the times don't have the means of solving things, but we can connect you with people. We can find other ways in which we can help you, and we'll get to where we want to get. And that's the soul of what we do, and it cannot be sacrificed for just like increasing or expanding to new communities. So as we grow, we will continue expanding. And another thing that we want to do, and we envision for ConEducacion in the future, is, as Julie was saying, every student in Colombia has the right to receive all of the supports that we're providing, because education should not be a privilege, it is a right. So we envision our program to become a public policy, so it can be nationally implemented. We envision that the work that we do and the impact that we're creating gets to local governments or the national government, so we can have that support and we can grow that community in order to provide what we are providing in a wider range.
Yes, right now we're working a lot on collecting data. We want to do research. We want to have data that shows the impact that we're making. We want to show that this is needed and that we are here to provide it.
You really got some pretty mega ambitions by the sounds of things. You're already at 30 volunteers and looking to grow that, sounds like exponentially throughout the country, but you want to do more than that. You really want to get to a point where you're able to influence policymakers and potentially sort of local and national government level. So you're going to need a lot of data to do that. So yeah, big ambitions by the sounds of things.
Yes, they are. But it is important. Like, that's one of the things that always we keep in mind. It has been a lot of work since we started ConEducacion. It has been a learning curve and process. But what we do, we deeply and truly believe it's urgent, is relevant, and super important. So we're committed to this.
And you both do an incredible work by the sounds of things, and along with a team of 30 volunteers. And what got you here in the first place? So we've heard a little bit about what's kind of your motivations and passions. Presumably you guys are also doing other full-time or part-time jobs at the moment. So, you know, what else are you doing, and how do you fit it in, and yeah, how did you get to here?
Yes, I think I'm gonna try to summarize as much as I can.
We've got 15 minutes.
So I think I mentioned before, I'm a first generation student as well. Where I come from, it's Colombia is divided into socioeconomic stratas. So I belong to one of the lowest socioeconomic strata, which is 1. And only 2 out of 10 students from these socioeconomic strata goes to college and gets out of there, like we say in a colloquial way. So I beat the odds. I beat the statistics that said only 2 were going to make it, and I made it. And as I said, it's changed my life. I've done things I never thought I would be able to do. It expanded my mind and the things that I thought I was able to do. And so I became an educator because I wanted to change other people's lives through education. I had the opportunity to work in Medellin as a teacher, both in private and public schools. And I saw the gaps. They're huge. The inequalities are huge. Students in the private schools have lots of resources, opportunities, social capital, in contrast to students in the other neighborhoods where they didn't have, classes are very crowded. There are not enough teachers. The amount of hours they receive a week of education is not enough. There aren't technological resources. They're not going on field trips anywhere. They're just in a little bit of like a shelf. And when you ask them, do you want to go to college? They said, I do, but the time goes by, the deadline is gone, and they never apply because they don't know where to start or what to do. And so I was doing some research on educational policy in Colombia during my undergrad studies. And then that brought me to apply to my master's degree in educational leadership and policy studies at Boston University. And while I was doing my master's, I did a little bit of research on first generation students and what are the challenges that prevent them from going to colleges, what are their motivations. And I thought, you know, there needs to be something done. And I wrote like a proposal, but then, you know, life changes and I was never able to go back to Colombia. I ended up staying here. And I thought at some point, well, I'm not going to be able to do this. But then I found Caro, who knew students in rural areas who needed this support and who had the same passion that I do. And we were able together to bring it to reality. And I think there are a lot of problems in the world, but I think we have the power to change those problems. We have the power to take action and do something. So I always tell my students, you can choose if you want to be a standby and see how things go bad in the world, or you can take action and try to do a little bit to change all of those things that are wrong in the world.
So maybe you can pick up the story, Carolina. Where did you come in, and yeah, what's your kind of your story?
As Julie was mentioning, we met at BU, and my background is in biology. I'm a biologist, and through biology in my country, I was able to travel different places and many rural areas, and that has been like my motivation to do kind of social work and move from science into education. I love science. I love doing research. I completely support all of that academic work. But as I was in the middle of my probably first job in research, I realized like something in my heart was not full, like something was missing. And that missing part was just working with people, doing things to, as Julie was saying, just contribute and be a change maker in my communities, in my country. So in the pandemic, we started ConEducacion as a way of doing something from abroad. We felt it was a really hard time for everybody in the world, right? And for us as teachers and educators, it was really hard to teach and take care of kids virtually. And we just could imagine what Colombian teachers, with all of the situations that Julie just described, were going through. So we started ConEducacion as a way of, we say in Colombia, we have a saying, poner un granito de arena, like add your little piece of sand, just put something in there to help to build a solution. And that's how ConEducacion started. We were, as I was saying, both full-time teachers, and we, for most of the time, have been full-time teachers through all of the process of getting started ConEducacion, which I honestly sometimes look back and think like, how did we make it? Like, how did we teach 8 hours a day, plan for lessons, reached out to families, graded, did everything, and did all of this other work that we have been doing with ConEducacion? It has definitely not been easy to juggle all of these different balls at the same time and wear so many hats, because ConEducacion also started with us too, and the team has grown over years, but it has also been like Julie and me behind everything. So web design, we have learned to use social media because we didn't do that before. We're still learning, so it has been a lot of work. We have been able to juggle with our professional responsibilities as teachers. Back in August, I moved back from Boston to Colombia. And from August till now, I have been able to work like full-time for ConEducacion, well, volunteer full-time for ConEducacion. It was my choice to kind of pause my teacher and at classroom work to just dedicate to ConEducacion, because we do feel juggling so many things at the same time was enabling us to do the basics, right? We had our students, we have supported them, we have had like great results and our students, our rate for admission to college or enrollment in college is twice the national average for the population we work, and we have been able to do all of that. But in order for ConEducacion to kind of stay afloat and be a sustainable project, we needed a little bit more of a push, and we needed a little bit more of dedication so we can reach out to more funding opportunities, we can reach out to possible partnerships, and just like establish more like organizationally, if you will. So that's what we have been doing, and I feel it has been like a personal satisfaction, honestly. Coming back to Colombia has had many different challenges and has required more patience than when I anticipated it would. But having ConEducacion has been like my lifeline in this times, and kind of my anchor, because I absolutely love the work that we do, talking to our students, being able to be more in contact with them also, because now I have the time to have, I don't know, an hour phone calls with our kids and see them a little bit more, not like go to visit them yet. I haven't been able to visit this year's students yet, but it has given me the time to build like even stronger relationships with our kids. And for the organization, I also feel it has been a really successful and useful time. And that's where we are at this time. I'm not being able to continue just dedicating to ConEducacion on a volunteer basis. So I started a part-time teaching job like 2 weeks ago or so. So that's how our days go. And our weekends, the program runs actually on the weekend. So the kids have the classes and the meetings with the psychologists and everything on the weekends. So we normally just Monday through Friday in the morning and afternoon are teachers full time. Then at nights we are ConEducacion. It's our ConEducacion time, and then all the weekends.
I'm hearing a huge amount of passion and energy that really, has driven you both, and then driven you together and onwards really with the project and the program. But also, I'm sure a lot of challenges, and I guess I'm wondering sometimes what is interesting, or as interesting to hear as the kind of successes and positives, are some of the challenges that you've encountered along the way, because that's just a real part of the journey in any startup, but particularly with a startup that's looking to achieve social impact and where so much personal passion is tied up. So I wondered if you could comment briefly on maybe what you've both or individually found most challenging. You spoke a lot about the juggling of things, and I also wonder how the sort of co-founder relationship has benefited the program, not just with kind of the joint skill set and the dual passion, but just in terms of you two personally having that support, the support of one another. I think that might be helpful or interesting for people listening to understand.
For me, I think the biggest challenge that I felt all throughout the funding of ConEducacion has been fighting with the multiple inequalities that we see in the country. Like emotionally, it's honestly very devastating to see how much struggle our students have to go through in order to get into college. Like just the fact of our students are taking a mock-up test, like a practice test in a couple of weeks, and they have to travel 6 hours to get to the city where they can take this practice test, just that. And it's not like, okay, fine, I travel. No, it's like they don't have resources to pay for hotel in this place. They need food, they need transportation. It's not as simple as, oh yeah, sure, my dad will drive me there. No, there's nothing of that. Their families don't have a card. Sometimes they don't even have their own devices, so they use their parents' phone. Sometimes they have to go to the school to get into the classes because there's not internet. Sometimes we're in the middle of a class and the town loses power. So all these things that sound honestly ridiculous for us who live in a city, it's like what people actually go through in the 2021 century, still in rural areas. And so it's just really encouraging at the same time, because we want to change all that, and we are doing a little something to change all that. But it's hard to live with that and to see all those things.
The scale of the problem and the kind of harsh realities are, yeah, I'd imagine pretty distressing to be around, and you're working directly with people on a very personal level, which must be, yeah, like emotionally challenging.
It's hard to balance the motivation that we give to the kids that we want to, right? Like, they have their dreams and we're doing everything in our power and providing everything that we can so those dreams can come true. But it's also difficult to balance it with like a reality check and the times in which we have to have the conversations with the kids, like, okay, yes, you want to be a doctor, you want to go to med school, that's probably not going to happen, at least in the next 3 or 4 years. Like, we need to build a different path while we get there, and we will get there, and it's going to be probably not like this is what we always tell to the kids, it's not going to be a straight and easy path. It's going to have a lot of turns and ups and downs, but we will get there. But balancing that is hard. And as you were saying, Dave, like, because the kind of relationships we build with our kids, that emotional connection that we have with them, it's hard to go through the hardships with them, because it's our own kind of story as well. So that has been challenging. And Julie also mentioned, like, technically one of the hardships that we've had is internet is unstable, or power, electricity is stable in some of the rural areas, especially like when it rains, and rainy seasons can last 2 months or 3 months. So the town loses power. So it's really hard to get the kids to join class if there's no power or no internet. And those technical things, I think it's kind of the easier, if you want, quote unquote, easier solutions that we can provide. Like, we have been trying to apply for different projects so we can get satellite internet and solar power, like, for the school, so kids can go to the school. They are also like very proactive, and they look for solutions. They support each other a lot, which is great. But another big challenge that we've had, and those, I say those are quick fixes because it's kind of easy to find the solution. We need the money, and we have been looking for that funding, and we will get it, and we will find a solution for that. But the systemic kind of challenges are the ones that are more difficult, and that will take longer to fight. But as Julie was saying, they're also the inspiring thing, right? This is like all of that. It's exactly what we're trying to make better and to make right for our kids.
Yeah, I mean, it really sounds like many barriers you're having to push through, you know, on technology front, transportation and travel. I guess there's just that if you're talking about first generation kind of people entering higher education for the first time, there's maybe a perception that they can't, or it's not possible. So you're dealing with that. And then there's the up and down journey of, coming up and facing these barriers and pushing through. So, yeah, I mean, it really does sound like an enormous challenge. And you both must need to have a great deal of resilience, I would imagine, to get through, to keep going. What gives you that resilience? I mean, there's a huge amount of passion and energy, and I can tell that will drive you, but that on its own, I don't imagine is enough. So, you know, you can only ride so far on that. So do you rely on one another as co-founders?
Yeah.
Who do you have and what do you have around you to prop you up?
I think has been the most important thing for me personally and for the organization is to have, I know Julie has my back all the time, and that support it's what also allows us to continue going, because it's too much to deal with for one person. So whenever one of us is feeling like I'm done, I'm done fighting Colombian system, I'm done, there's the other one to say like, no, we're not done. Like, we have those 23 kids that need us on Saturday, and we're here for them. So you take a break. I got this for a while, and then you come back when you're ready. And that, I think, has been key in our time with ConEducacion. And also, you were mentioning resilience. I do think our students, probably for me personally, are the greatest teachers of resilience. Because if I I have had a life of privilege and I've had everything in life, and if I am getting tired, but then I see my kids that wake up early in the morning, go walking to wherever they have to walk, and feed their kid, because we have like teenage moms who are part of the program, feed their kids, get everything ready to be in class at 9 a.m. because they are ready for doing this and they want to do this and they're putting all of their effort and all of their energy. Like if they are doing all of that, I can also be there for them. So that resilience for me comes in our project from Julie and from our kids.
Yes, I think I second everything Caro just said. There is absolutely no way I would have been able to do this without Caro. I personally think struggle the most with managing personal life and work life and how much time you spend on both of those things. And Caro has been very supportive, especially when she took over as a full-time volunteer. She's okay, Julie, you can focus on this and that, and I'll take over these responsibilities. So I think like having that constant support on each other, like feeling like if there's something that one feels like they can do or they can go on, then the other one is there to remind the other that yes, we can and we'll go on, and we'll keep doing it. And as Caro said, like for me, for example, going into the towns last year to visit the students and meet them in person was a huge motivator. Like, why am I resilient? Why continue to do this despite the difficulties? Because, like spending time with them, seeing them, talking to them, hugging their families, hearing their thankfulness towards us for the support we're giving them, it's a boost of motivation. Like there's no way we can stop now, I think. And we'll keep going.
And look, it's for me anyway, it's good or interesting and inspiring to hear the challenges as much as it's interesting to hear the personal passions and some of the rewards that you get, the realities of doing the work that you do, and some of the struggles that come with it are very real, and I think just as interesting for people listening to hear. So thanks for sharing those with us. Now, we try and keep these conversations fairly short, sharp and sweet. And I know you guys are busy professionals and need to get off to other things. So before we wrap things up, we've been speaking about resilience. Maybe there's a link from that to this, but if you were to give someone listening advice or to suggest something to someone who's at maybe a very early stage in their journey, so if you can think back a few years, maybe what would you have told yourself, a younger version of yourself, to expect or to consider when they saw an issue that they wanted to act on?
I think I would tell them there's always ways. Although we think, yes, there are problems, there are challenges, there are barriers we encountered. If we keep looking and knocking on doors, the right doors will open and we'll find ways to do things. Personally, when I first decided to stay living in Boston, I thought I would never be able to do anything of what I thought once I wanted to do. Then the pandemic came and showed me like everything can be done from the distance and things can be done remotely, and you don't need to be physically in a place to change or to take action or to do things. So I think there's always a way, and keep looking for that way and partner with people, because you cannot act as an individual. You'll always need to work with other people, with communities, with your friends. Like this is like the way we started, honestly, is by spreading the word and with our family, with our friends, and then that's become a larger community now. But always look for other people and work together.
Yeah, I will add on the same line. most of the challenges that you face are like have already been faced by somebody else. So partnering and learning from the process of others. We at ConEducacion truly believe in collaboration. And we think that's kind of the key to success. By yourself, you're not going to make it, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel, and you don't have to go through all of the struggles. You can save yourself a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy if you reach out for help, if you ask questions, and don't be like just hesitant to ask. Really, people might be intimidated, like how I'm going to reach out to this great organization that has been doing all of these things. They probably have a person that will have the time and sit down and will gladly share their story and help you out. So don't be shy to ask and reach out for help, and also take care of yourself. I think that's also very, very important, because this has been something real for us, as you get so invested in the work and there's always so much need, so you get into it way too much sometimes. You also need to check like yourself, and you cannot help others if you are not well. So it's important to keep that balance too. Like you can only be there for somebody else if you are there for yourself too. So be patient, reach out, take care of yourself, and partner with people.
Brilliant advice, and I think a good place to leave today's conversation. Yuliana, Carolina, thank you so much for joining me today on the Shifters podcast. Be nice if we could talk a bit longer, but yeah, we're gonna have to wrap that up today. Before we go, can you just let anyone know that's listening that wants to find out a bit more about ConEducacion and what the work that you're doing, or to connect with either of you to maybe looking to do any partnership work, where would they go? Where should they visit?
All of our communication channels are open for anyone who wants to reach out to us or learn more about ConEducacion. They can find us at www.coneducacion.org. And also we are in social media as ConEducacion Col, like COL for Colombia, both in Instagram and Facebook. So do not hesitate to reach out with questions or anything that want to know about ConEducacion.
And thank you, Dave and Social Shifters, for the opportunity to share a little bit of our passion and the work that we do. It has also been really inspiring to know more about you as well and work with you. We have learned a lot with you, Social Shifters, too. So thank you for this opportunity. And for anybody who's listening, just don't hesitate to reach out.
If you want to learn more about Social Shifters and how we can help you to impact the social or environmental issues that matter to you most, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find us on Instagram and Spotify.